Hey everyone, welcome to Ron's Muscle Car Garage. Just wanted to bring you up to speed on that car over there and what I'm going to be doing here on the 69. I've got it all set up here. I'm probably going to work on this one today. I got a feeling that's what I want to do. When you got a couple cars and you got a lot of time, you can pick and choose what you want to do. And that brings me to this. When you have two cars, one car is a lot of work, right? When you have two cars, oh my goodness, totally no time to get it all done. But that one is done, and I have been driving it on the street, okay? And some of you may have seen the video of when I drove it on over to a car show. And I did one other trip out there as well. Now next week, Wednesday, I've got another event that I'm going to, and I'm going to do a couple changes on that one. So rather than talk about this one right now, let me talk about what's going on over there. Let me show you this. Some of you can see this. Some of you gas guys probably are going to be like, wow. Well, I was that way too. Race gas and ethanol, there's a vast difference as far as jetting goes. And so what I'm going to do, because that's got the tune-up from the dyno still in it. And it runs really good, runs smooth, you know, all of that. But it's eating up a little too much fuel. Don't need to do that. So since I'm going to be just street driving it and I don't ride it on the street at all, I'm going to go ahead and detune it a little bit, jet it down. And by the way, the jet that I'll be putting in it has already run at the track on the other build, which was 33 horsepower less than this one. And the jetting I'm going to put in there, and I'll look at my AFR and make sure it's right, that thing ran 877 in the quarter mile. Okay, so it's not like it's going to detune it much. It's a naturally aspirated setup. Runs 40 degrees, locked advance. Just a good running little engine, man. But now it's 33 horsepower more, and the jetting is bigger because we got the AFR spot on while we're on the dyno, and running a lot more fuel in the engine. And I can tell, just from a little bit I've driven it, that it's eating up a little bit too much fuel that I don't like that, you know. And I especially don't want it to get into the oil, because it can get past the rings and get in the oil if you feed too much fuel into these things. So I want to get that figured out, get that done, not figured out, but get it done. The other thing to do, I'm gonna just for comfort, I'm gonna take out my side Lexan. I have trim package that goes on there and blocks off the slots where the windows, the original windows would have gone up and down. Little trim package, looks cool, aluminum, really nice. So I'll have that all nice so it's comfortable, not hot in the car and all that. Although it's not been hot here in Michigan, it's been okay to drive around with those windows in. But anyway, just take them out. Don't want them to be all scratched up and all that either. So, but that's where I'm at with that. I'm going to take my jetting kit, I'm going to get that thing jetted down a little bit. That's no big deal, real simple job. Not much more I have to do to that car really. There's no leaks or nothing. Everything's good, man. I'm really happy with that. And it's running good. Very good. Fires right up right away and all that. So that's my next project. I got to get that done by Wednesday, which I have plenty of time. But now let's talk about this. Many of you know I've put a motor plate on this setup. That was one of the changes I made. Also put the front rack and pinion steering in. Cleared the frame section. That's going to make it a lot nicer to work on things. Not that I'm going to be down there working on the bottom of the motor too often, but it's just nice. Now, I'm going to put that engine plate on, and if you notice, it's sitting right here. And I've got new gaskets that I've made, and you may have seen my video on these gaskets. And you can see the ring there. Okay, the large ring around that circle, that hole, is what the stock gasket would be. And with this plate, now this is a different plate than what's in the 67. If you saw the video on this, in fact, look it up if you want on my channel, and you'll see the problem when you have that stock gasket with that bigger hole, and what happens on that plate that can cause a water leak. This one here, I'll show you. This one here has provisions for that. So you see where that bump is right there? That's so that it gives you more meat right there, so that gasket will seal better. Where the other one was cut straight and it was very thin there, so you had some issues. I made new gaskets, I took care of it, but not a good design, okay? But this one's way better, different brand. So I'll be putting that in today. Can't wait to do it. It's gonna look really nice. I've got the engine in there right now on the solid mounts, and I've welded in new mounts and everything here. And believe it or not, there's no tranny in here, and that motor is just sitting there. It rocked back a little bit. It's got 7/16 bolts in there in my little tubing that I used for my solid motor mount. It's not tight, but it's closer fit than a factory type deal. Plus those steel motor mounts, they do have slots in them, so there's not adjustment, but you have some leeway to get the bolts through. And that motor will sit back a little bit, but it's not back enough to where it touches the firewall or anything like that. So I'll just have to lift it up a little bit, even though the tranny's not in there. When I put the plate on, I've got to get it kind of flush or in line with the front plate mounts. Okay, so let me turn this here a little bit. Let me make sure you guys can see here. There we go. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll probably lift this up and just do a dry fit with the plate before I butter up the gaskets. I use a little black RTV. I don't want to take a chance and get this all bolted together and put water in it and then all of a sudden find out I got a leak. I had that issue on that other one. Many of you know I explained it. So I'm going to make sure that's all lined up, and then I'll put the gaskets on with a little black RTV, get it all clamped down, and then that'll hold that motor right where it needs to be. And then I can put the transmission in after that. Nice thing about this motor plate, this engine plate, is that it's tying this whole front frame section together. You've got the engine down there that's held on the solid mounts. You've got these roll bars, these down bars. So when you tie to these down bars, come across the engine, bolt to the engine, you're tying all this together, plus those that are underneath there, and that'll stiffen everything up. There won't be any twisting or anything like that. So that's a great thing you can do. In fact, to give you an idea how good of an idea this is, that car over there did not have front down bars when I initially bought that car back in 2007. So I did extensive work to that one like I did to this one. And one of the things I had to do right away was put front down bars in and a front plate. I had already run the car, and in the 60 foot, I knew this was going to happen. I added weight to the car because of the down bars and the plate, but I ran 200s quicker in the 60 foot because the car launched nice and flat and straight right out, just nice. That made a huge difference. Think about it. It only had the front frame rails. It was running 880s, and it just had the engine bolted in there. Stock front frame rails with no down bars. Now the back of the car, everything's all done in chromoly. It's really done well, caged really well, but they just didn't finish the car. So by doing that, it tied everything together. Worked really good. Had to do it. I love doing the work anyway. So I kind of did the same thing with this car. You know, I actually changed this a little bit. I changed the front down bar angle. In one of my videos, I explained why that's important. Also, I added these down bars here to the frame, catching this bar. All of that's going to help this car a lot. Now, this car doesn't make near the horsepower that one does, but it's still, at the weight, it's going to weigh, I don't know for sure, but I'll get on the scale, but I'm thinking it's going to be right around 2,900 without me. And with 709, almost 10 horsepower, 709.8 I think it is, 709.7 was its peak at 6,500. But with that horsepower and with everything that this has got, it's got a 400 turbo tranny, by the way. It should run 940s, probably like 945, okay? I don't care about that. I mean, I really like to have a pro street car be the real deal, and I think that's pretty respectable. That's a good street car, okay? It's not an exotic grind on the cam or anything. It's just a shelf cam, but it's a good runner for the street. And by the way, this motor, I got $5,000 into this. Think about that. It's got a scat crank. It's got Icon pistons. It's got Engine Pro rods. It's got Crower lifters. It's not a shaft rocker. It's just a standard Crower cast iron rocker, okay, but a roller rocker. And what else? It's got a bullet cam in it. No, I'm sorry, it's not. It's a street cam. It's a comp cam. Okay, but anyway, very low build, low budget build here. Picked up this block. It was an unbored block. I got it for $200. It's a tall deck 4-bolt main GM block. Okay, so it's a 489. Got a stroker crank in it, quarter stroke. And I got a Victor Jr. on it, which matches the carburetor, okay, as far as like CFM, what it should be. And there are different ones in these juniors. You know, you can get the huge ones for like a 632 engine and all that. Single plane. I do my own port matching, and I'll do a video on that too. I do a really good job on it. I don't want to toot my horn too much, but I'm a tool and die maker by trade, so I know how to lay out things, and I'm pretty fussy. So there's some neat things you want to know if you ever want to do your own port matching. It's really easy, and the guys charge like $400 to do it. And I don't know, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just got to have the motor, and you got to have the intake so you can put it on and off and all that kind of thing, gaskets and all. But I got it, this one and that one also spot on. I take a scope and I look down in there, and I can tell the runners are just lined right up, nice. So this is stuff I like to do, and I thought I'd share it with you. I appreciate you guys listening to me and hanging with me here. I know sometimes it get kind of boring, you know, if you're not into cars or whatever, not into it to this degree. But, you know, in order for you to understand where I'm coming from and what I know about this, I had to explain it, okay? I can't wait to put the motor plate on, so I'm not going to babble on anymore. I'll do a different video on that, probably do some time lapse on that, so I can, you know, quickly get through it and show you what it looks like afterward and get the pulleys all on and all that. So until then, take care, and like I always say, keep working on them because they're never done.